Hello, it's 9 a.m. in Warsaw, and this is World News on TVP World. I'm Marie Cato. Russia launched yet another attack on Ukraine overnight on Sunday, targeting the port city of Odesa. One person was killed and 2 others wounded. A total of 21 apartment buildings were damaged in the strike, with a fire affecting one of them. A gas pipeline and multiple cars were also destroyed. Odesa, Ukraine's third largest city, has been one of Russia's primary targets since the beginning of the invasion. Earlier on Sunday night, Russian forces targeted the capital Kyiv, where authorities urged residents to remain in shelters. The overnight Russian attacks come amid Moscow's ongoing drone and missile campaign against Ukraine's energy infrastructure, which has severely damaged the country's energy grid, causing blackouts amid freezing temperatures. The residents of Kyiv are currently stuck in an extremely difficult position, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said in his nightly address on Sunday. Zelenskyy spoke about the rollout of warmth packages and warming points operations, reassuring the Ukrainian people that the government is working to restore power.
At present, the situation remains difficult in Kyiv across most indicators. This concerns both electricity and heating. Naftogaz will also increase the number of teams assisting Kyiv specifically. Presently, the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine is ensuring the operation of a sufficient number of heating points, more than 200 points in Kyiv. Almost 9,000 people have sought assistance over the past day. The Warmth Packages program is operating just fine, and as of this time, nearly 40,000 packages have been distributed this week in areas with the greatest need.
Rivalry ahead of Hungary's April parliamentary elections is heating up. As TISA and Fidesz battle for votes, Prime Minister Orbán has labelled Ukraine the national enemy, while opposition leader Péter Magyar released a detailed manifesto calling for independence from Russian gas, closer ties with Poland, and a stronger role in the EU and NATO. Zuzanna Jurek reports.
Ukrainians must understand that they must give up the constant demands, that Hungary is cut off from cheap Russian energy. As long as Ukraine does this, Ukraine is not apologizing, and I say it is our enemy.
Orbán's outcry and branding Ukraine as Budapest's enemy comes after the EU voted to seize gas imports from Russia by 2027.
We will proceed with the adoption of the regulation on phasing out Russian natural gas imports. It aims at ending dependency on Russian energy through achieving a resilient EU energy market and preserving the EU security of supply.
Orbán is seen as one of the Kremlin's closest allies in the bloc, but not all Hungarians share the preference for the alliance with the current prime minister. The opposition TISA party, led by Péter Magyar, published its 240-page manifesto ahead of the April 12 parliamentary elections.
From the first minute, the new government will deal with what it has been entrusted with, what is expected of it, and what is useful for the entire country.
The manifesto, titled The Foundations of a Functioning and Humane Hungary, includes introduction of a wealth tax for the super-rich, adoption of the euro, ending dependence on Russian gas by 2035, strengthening of regional ties including with Poland, and bolstering the country's presence in the EU and NATO.
I think it's promising from the point of view that there is a clear stand by the EU and NATO. They want to go back to rule of law, democracy. They want to join the European prosecutor. They want to set up specific ministries of healthcare, education, etc.
While maintaining a pro-Western stance, TISA announced it would not support the fast-tracked accession of Ukraine to the EU, favoring a more measured approach.
People are not choosing between anti-Ukrainian and pro-Ukrainian option, but people are choosing between a squarely anti-Ukrainian and a sort of a pro-European, still slightly Ukrainian skeptic. So in some respects, the dichotomy is not there.
Still, Orbán's Fidesz resigned to campaign tricks.
I wanted to show you something because just this week there is a kind of so-called national petition that arrived to every household who didn't actively block the government information. And I can show you this picture. I guess you know the the people who are on this picture. And you have to know that in Hungary, all over the place, we can see big billboards with the same picture, and also with the picture of Ursula von der Leyen giving orders to Péter Magyar, the leader of TISA, and Péter Magyar is only saying, yes, madam. So it's like fake news all over the place.
And despite receiving an endorsement from US President Donald Trump,
Viktor Orbán is a true friend, a fighter, and a winner, and has my complete and total endorsement for re-election as Prime Minister of Hungary. He will never let the great people of Hungary down.
Fidesz is currently lagging 8 to 16 percentage points behind Magyar's grouping, a trend that is expected to continue in the lead-up to the April general elections.
And we might say that the game is over, I think.
For TVP World, Zuzanna Jurek.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán again lambasted Ukraine for calling on Europe to cut its energy ties with Russia, going so far as calling Kyiv an enemy. The Atlantic Council's Elizabeth Braun notes that Orbán remains a pariah in Europe, even while managing friendly relations with both US President Donald Trump and the Kremlin.
You would think no leader would be able to have both those countries as close contact, but he has managed to do that. What he has also managed to do is make himself, as I think your viewers will know, completely disliked within the European Union, because what he does when going out, essentially endorsing, supporting, speaking well of Russia, or at least speaking well of maintaining relations with Russia. What he does is undermine any sort of coherent EU policy on whatever the matter may be. And that is a problem in a union of 27 countries, and one country is consistently pursuing its own path, and a very unhelpful path.
Czech Prime Minister Andrej Babiš announced on Sunday that he would support the introduction of a social media ban for children under the age of 15. The Czech government is working on legislation which may be ready for a vote by the end of the year.
In a video message posted on social media, Czech Prime Minister Andrej Babiš says he supports banning social media use for children under the age of 15, as support grows across Europe for tougher rules to protect minors online.
I'm in favor. I'm very much in favor because the experts I know say it is terribly harmful to children. We must protect our children.
Governments and regulators worldwide are increasingly examining the impact of screen time on kids, as worries intensify over online safety and mental well-being. Later, Deputy Prime Minister Karel Havlíček said the government is seriously considering proposing a ban, with draft legislation possible later this year.
Social media is the scourge of humanity today. Unfortunately, this is true for adults, but it is certainly worse for children.
There is a mounting consensus among experts that social media can be harmful to children's mental health and development, though debates on solutions remain heated. Since the ban was first introduced in Australia in December, numerous countries across Europe are working on implementing legislation, including France, Britain, Spain, and Poland.
António José Seguro of the centre-left Socialist Party has won the second round of Portugal's presidential elections, having secured 66.8% of the votes, according to data from over 99% of polling stations. Seguro received the highest level of support in the history of Portugal's modern presidential elections. He received 3.45 million votes at just over 50% turnout. His opponent, far-right anti-establishment TV personality Ventura, received around 33% of the votes. In the first round, Seguro led with about 31%, while Ventura came second with roughly 23.5%. Seguro, who primarily focused his victory speech on preparing the country for severe weather events, will be Portugal's first socialist leader in 20 years.
This victory belongs to every person who believed and has hope for a better country, a modern and fair Portugal, where we are all equal in our needs and different in our freedoms, a country that moves forward without leaving anyone behind. We need a country that is prepared, not a country that is caught by surprise. We need to better organize and plan the country's resources so that the state can respond on time to victims and to the consequences of severe weather events, which, unfortunately, are becoming increasingly frequent.
The Grand Voices operatic recitals by Poland's most celebrated singers, joined by their international friends, is the newest addition to the calendar at the Polish National Opera. Warsaw, it seems, is fast becoming one of the opera world's most sought-after destinations. Karolina Szapland reports.
It looks like two friends catching up, chatting easily in the auditorium of the Polish National Opera. In fact, this is one of the most celebrated baritons of his generation, fresh from triumphs at New York's Metropolitan Opera, alongside a soprano whose voice has been heard everywhere from the world's leading stages to the coronation of King Charles III. Artur Ruciński and Péter Magyar are preparing for a gala concert in Warsaw titled The Grand Voices. Together they represent the very pinnacle of Italian opera, the virtuosic, emotionally charged world of bel canto. This is not the first time Maestro Ruciński has invited Péter Magyar to perform in Poland, but this appearance marks a significant moment, her transition into the core bel canto repertoire.
We have a great connection. She's a great artist. We always have a great fun together singing. And also, with the time, because Priti is much younger than I, she starts singing more dramatic repertoire from Verdi, which is my main repertoire.
Conducting the evening is Alfonso Tedesco, another long-standing collaborator and close friend of the Polish baritone.
It is my first time in Poland. I feel very lucky to be here today working on such an important production in a prestigious theater like the Warsaw Opera, with two absolute stars like Artur Ruciński and Péter Magyar.
It is precisely this blend of artistic excellence and personal connection that inspired the concept, according to the National Opera's new director, Borys Kudliczka. While the format may be new to the audiences in the Polish capital and ticket prices notably steep, the appetite for bel canto is unmistakable. Seats sell out in under 20 minutes.
I have to say I'm really very pleased that we have a chance to see great voices of our stages, the great Polish singers who are inviting great international colleagues. We will see Artur Ruciński and Péter Magyar both achieving wonderful results on the stages all over the world. And that's a series that I'm really lucky I was able to manage within the running or pending repertoire of a current season. We will continue this series. The next one will be Tomasz Konieczny and Kamila Nylund, and the last one will be Piotr Beczała.
For now, we leave these stars of the operatic firmament as they prepare for the performance. Moments usually hidden from view, but available here, thanks to TVP World's access to this rarefied world. Or, as Violetta and Germos sing in La Traviata, addio, addio.
And that's a wrap for World News. Thank you for being with us, and stay tuned for more news and analysis on TVP World. Goodbye.